A Revolutionary War soldier, William Patrick Dugan, enlisted at the Morris County, New Jersey as a private in the 3rd Regiment Continental Line for 3 years in March 1777. He first served under Captain Flanagan and Colonel Dayton. He later served under Colonel Barber. He participated in the battles of Brandywine, Germantown, and Monmouth Courthouse. He was born in Ireland according to the Darke County Census of 1850. His birth year is unknown as several different dates was given on different documents. In 1818, when applying for pension, he stated he was 58. On the 1835 roll of the Revolutionary War pensioners in Darke County, he stated he was 71, and on the 1850 census of Darke County, he stated he was 95. He died August 15, 1851, and was originally buried at the Water Street Cemetery. In 1901, his body was removed to the Greenville Union Cemetery, and the Darke County Historical Society erected his grave marker while having a graveside dedication honoring his service as a patriot of the American Revolution. Joining us today to represent the American Revolution are members from the Richard Montgomery chapter, Sons of the American Revolution.
Hi there. Thanks for coming. I'm dressed in a militia outfit. So if the war came to your area, you might join in with the regular army and shoot for a while, fight for a while. And then if the battles moved on, you might go back to your farm and work. Lee here is decorated up into a colonial line. So Mr. Dugan here would have had a uniform that looked very similar to this when he started. He enlisted with General George Washington's army, and this is the regular army look that you would have had at the beginning of your service. By the end of his 3 years, his boots might have been worn out. He might have all kinds of, lost his coat or ripped it and so on, and you wouldn't get much of a replacement. But this is what he would look like at the beginning of his service. She mentioned that he was involved, Mr. Dugan here was involved in 3 different battles, and the 3 battles are kind of connected in a way. Brandywine was the battle where the British are coming early in the war, and they're going to try to capture Philadelphia, which was the capital of the country at that time. So they're marching up there, and George Washington's army tries to intercept them and stop them from getting up there to Philadelphia. And it was a massacre for the American side. They were outmaneuvered. George Washington made some mistakes. The British army flanked them on the outside, and they took heavy losses, and they had to retreat. And so they regrouped down a little bit later as the British marched up and actually took Philadelphia, captured the city. So as they're occupying the city, they set up at Germantown was the second battle. They had set up a camp, the British did, where they were going to sit, and it wasn't really well defended. So George Washington came up with a really ingenious plan on how to attack it. It was a very complex plan, and when they came up, some of the troops fought well, some of the militiamen kind of panicked and left the area. Most of the regular army did a decent job. So Dugan survived that second battle, even though again it was a loss for the American side, and they end up having to retreat out of it. So he's been through 2 different battles, and they've lost both battles already. The country is starting to question George Washington, whether he's the right man to lead their forces or not. So the 3rd battle is when the British troops decide they're going to leave Philadelphia and go up to New York City. And so as they are marching, they're on this long column of marching out. And George Washington devises a plan. We're going to attack the tail end of this long column. There were twice as many British as there were American forces, but it was a strategic win for the Americans, probably one of their very first wins in the Revolutionary War. And that kind of turned the tide with the American public, saying, hey, we had a victory even though we were outnumbered 2-1. Now the truth is, it was kind of a draw, and they were only attacking the tail end of the line, and the British at the front of the line kept on marching to get to New York. So there was a very limited skirmish there, but the Americans claimed it as a victory, and that kind of, like I said, turned the momentum on their side to where the people started supporting the American Revolution a little bit more. And Mr. Dugan here was in all 3 of those battles, survived the first 2, which were defeats, and in this 3rd one, they were victorious over the British. So that was kind of the 3 battles that he was involved in. There were probably other little minor skirmishes along the way, but those were the 3 major battles that he was involved in, and kind of went from the beginning of the war where we were losing a lot to where now all of a sudden the troops here are better trained, have some more experience, and they did a better job in that 3rd battle, and they continue to advance and do better as the years go on.